Hello again and welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Donna Lampkin-Stevens. On Spotlight, we focus on the people and events of the University of Central Arkansas's College of Fine Arts and Communication, and UCA public appearances at Reynolds Performance Hall is a big part of that. Today we're going to preview part of the 2013-14 public appearances season. Joining me today again is Ashley Love, Director of Finance and Marketing for UCA Public Appearances, Amanda Horton, who will replace the retiring Jerry Biebesheimer as Director of UCA Public Appearances, has not officially begun her new position as we tape these shows. So join Ashley and me when we return to talk about the Night Out and Distinguished Lecture Series. My friend Ashley Love, Director of Finance and Marketing for UCA Public Appearances, joins us again on Spotlight. So Ashley, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, last time we talked about the Broadway and Pop series, and so today we're going to start off with the Night Out series. So we are kicking off with the big one, and I'm so excited about this.
Yes, I think a lot of people are very excited. This is something that literally takes decades in the making to get somebody of this caliber to come and perform here.
Okay, so we're talking about, obviously, Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, yes.
And his show is 50 years of making you laugh, smile, and feel good.
Obviously, everything that encompasses Bill Cosby. You know, he's been around for over 50 years.
Now, what do you remember him from first?
The Cosby Show. I remember watching The Cosby Show with my mom when I was little, and so that's basically that and pudding commercials and the Jell-O commercials.
And I go back to Fat Albert, and just even before that, just when he was a comedian, I guess on The Tonight Show and things like that. Funniest book I've ever read, Fatherhood. I don't know if you need to get that for John. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So tell us about how we got him.
Really, he was one of those that you would just throw on your wish list and consider it a dream. Never in a million years would you expect it to actually happen. But we just followed up on him, just kind of kept in the loop about what he was doing now. And
he doesn't tour much.
He doesn't tour much, but he's always been out of our range, you know, in every definition of that. And finally, you know, he just decided he would like to perform at smaller venues, and so we got a call and they said, well, he's performing at Forest City and we're going to be coming through that way. Are you interested?
So really, literally almost fell in our laps.
Yes.
Great, great.
And just everything fit.
And what do you expect from him, Ashley? I mean, he makes, you know, he's funny, but he often always also has a social message. Are you expecting anything serious, maybe? Sometimes he makes graduation speeches where he has lessons for young people. What are you expecting?
It'll be something, definitely. I think it'll be something like that, or maybe something for families or raising children, something along the line, something that he's gone through himself. But being at a university, it might be towards our students here today.
Yeah, because I think he is Dr. Cosby. I understand he's EDD.
Yes.
So I think he has a real passion for and interest in education as well. So okay, and that is on September 26th at 7:30.
Yes, and again, that will be one that you want to make sure and get your tickets to early.
And we will talk about how to get tickets here in a moment. So what kind of feedback have you gotten? I got, a little bird told me in advance, so I've known about this for some time.
Oh, the feedback has been just insane. The day after we announced, when it hit the papers, people were just calling, emailing, how can I get tickets? What's the earliest possible date I can get tickets for this? I don't care if I have to buy a season ticket, as long as I can get into this performance. Okay. So it's going to sell out. It will sell out the day tickets go on sale, probably within an hour or two.
Yeah. So, okay. And to start the year with that, I mean, it's not our first.
No, it's a week after the Broadway.
Our very first show on the whole season. So, okay, and then after that, on October the 8th, we have the Paul Taylor Dance Company. I'm not familiar with them.
Yes, the name Paul Taylor in the dance world is huge. It's up there with Martha Graham, who we had 2 years ago. And it's one that's also been on our wish list for dance, for modern dance, but it's always been out of our reach. And so we went to conference this year with the impression that we might be able to get Taylor 2, which is a smaller group that falls under the Paul Taylor Company. And they actually said, no, the top tier dance group will be touring and they'll be coming through and they'll fit your budget. So you should look into them. And
I think y'all were living right, Ashley.
we were doing something.
So tell me about the group. How many are there, and what is modern dance?
They actually perform many different. They have one group goes and does one type of performance, and so they have 3 or 4 different performances out there that will be touring, and we actually do not know right now which one we're getting.
Oh, that's exciting. When will you know?
I hope to know soon. I'd like to be able to put it in our brochure that we're finishing up right now, but right now we don't know which one we're getting. Interesting.
So the Paul Taylor Dance Company has multiple touring entities.
Productions.
And so how many total are involved in the Paul Taylor Dance Company? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I do not know. I would say that for the group that we'll be getting, you're probably looking at between 10 to 15, maybe 18, but I think it would stay smaller, around the 12
but a lot,
dancers.
So overall, Paul Taylor has a
few hundred.
Yeah,
wow. And it's very elite. It's up there with like Alvin Ailey and Martha Graham. If you have any interest in dance, you know who Paul Taylor is, and you'll want to be here.
Okay, great. And then on November 2nd, we have an evening with Audra McDonald. Tell us about that.
Audra is an actress and also a singer. She has a magnificent voice. She made her Broadway debut as a replacement in The Secret Garden while she was still in school at Juilliard. And she has won 3 Tony Awards in the span of 5 years. And so actually by the age of 27, she became the first person to win 3 Tonys before reaching 30.
Wow.
And so that's an honor that's shared with like Angela Lansbury and Julie Harris, and that's it. So she's up there with those 2 women. And she just finished being Bess in Porgy and Bess on Broadway. She had to take time away from her acting gig, which is normally on Private Practice.
Okay.
And she plays Dr. Naomi Bennett on Private Practice, which is a spinoff of Grey's Anatomy, I believe. And so she took some time off to do Porgy and Bess, and now she goes out on tour. And she doesn't have a big tour. She doesn't do 10 or 12 dates. It's more fly in, 1 or 2, fly out.
Okay.
So again, for us to
how did we get her? Is she pairing with something else?
She
close
might be.
by? You don't know?
I don't even know. I know she's flying in, and it's her and a pianist, and that's it.
Oh.
And she'll just walk out on stage in a gorgeous gown, and she'll just blow everyone away. Absolutely.
Okay. And then on February the 8th, we don't know who this is going to be, but it's the winner of the Van Cliburn Piano Competition, which is this summer, right?
Yes, it's actually taking place right now
as we tape this. Okay, and it's this famous piano competition in Fort Worth.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a piano competition that was named after Van Cliburn, and it has been going on. This is the 14th competition, but it only occurs every 4 years.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So the last one took place in 2009, and a young man won that who's actually born blind. So for him, I believe he's in North Korea, and so for he to come here and win this completely blind is just so phenomenal. But then the winner goes out on tour and stops at a few places and plays with some symphonies and plays solo. And so this is one thing that has taken 4 years in the making.
And so how long will the tour be?
I don't believe it's very long. I think maybe 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
And they'll be stopping here, and they'll play. Their performance here will be kind of unique. Half of the performance will be solo, just the piano winner, and then the other half will be with the Conway Symphony Orchestra.
Will that be sort of similar to what we had with Ju Wang when he was here?
It will be similar, except for that was a Conway Symphony performance, so that was completely for them to do. But it will be similar to that, and then of course we don't know where the winner will be from because this is an international competition. So,
but he or she will come in and rehearse with the Conway Symphony, and so okay, so that'll be and that will be the symphony's spring concert or winter, whatever?
I think it will take place of their normal February concert for their season, but it won't be really a part of their season because it's ours.
So it'll be sort of an extra.
Yes, so it'll be an extra special treat for the opportunity to see the Conway Symphony, and it's really nice that the winner will get to play with the symphony. Some places they go, it's just them.
Oh, is that right? Okay. I sure didn't know that was every 4 years.
Every
that is
4
a big
years.
deal.
So it's taken us 4 years to get on the record to get
Do you know how that competition works? I mean,
It's
I mean, there are tons of people who
there are
enter.
hundreds of applicants, and then they narrow it down to 133 that go before a jury, and then they select 30 to be in the competition. So this is what's going on right now. They're selecting the 30. At the competition, each of the 30 competitors performs 2 45-minute solo recitals.
Wow.
So you have 90 minutes of material that you have to know. And then they select 12 semifinalists who will each perform a 60-minute
Oh my gosh.
solo recital. Then they narrow it down to 6 finalists after the 12, and they have to play 2 concerts with the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, and then the winner is announced.
Wow. Wow.
So this will take place, I believe, into the first and second week of June.
We were living in Texas a few years ago, and I remember reading about the Van Cliburn competition. So I didn't get to see any of it, but I did read about it. Very interesting. And then just shortly after that, on March the 3rd, we have the Haifa Symphony Orchestra from Israel.
Yes, they're from Haifa, Israel, which is the largest city in northern Israel, and they were formed in 1950 and has really in the recent years become a focal point for music in Israel and in that area specifically. And they just started going out on tour around the world, and so this was
recently.
Very recently. And so this was one that Jerry Biebesheimer had kept an eye on, wanting to bring them here.
And we've had, Munich Symphony Orchestra here in the past?
Yes.
And we've had, did we have the Moscow?
Moscow, maybe.
Okay. And of course we have the National Symphony
Yes.
Orchestra here. So gosh, right here in Conway, you've had a chance.
You can see the world.
The world, actually the whole world. And Ashley, before we take a break here, this Night Out series kind of is like a potpourri, isn't it?
Yes, it's kind of just a mixture of everything. When you think back to we were talking about Bill Cosby and then Audra McDonald and Paul Taylor, you have dance and then you have piano and then you have a symphony. It really
They don't really fit into the other series.
They don't, but it's a really great variety.
Often that seems to me that seems to me the one that sort of stands out when I look at each individual series, just because of the variety.
It's not as categorized as being popular music or Broadway musicals or lecture, but it's nice because you do get a variety, and if you're looking to really expand your artistic horizons, then this is a great series.
That's the entry series, wouldn't you say?
That would be a great way to just learn about different art from literally around the world.
Yes, yes. Okay, so that concludes our Night Out series, and we'll be back in a minute to talk about 3 other special events. Don't go away. I'm back again with Ashley Love, and we're going to talk more, Ashley, about the 2013-14 UCA Public Appearances season. And we've talked about Broadway, Pops, and a night out at Reynolds. And so the last, it's not really a series, but it's 2 distinguished lectures, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about, why do we have a distinguished lecture series?
Well, in the beginning, I think we started this 4 seasons ago. We started out with 4 independent lectures, and we did consider it a series, the Distinguished Lecture Series. But what we really learned is that we do better if we can get 2 and really narrow it down and perhaps spend more or invest more in them. And then we have larger names that come, and that has really just worked well. This past season we had Tim Gunn and Herman Edwards, and both of which sold out, both of which had a great audience base, definitely hit somebody specific demographically, and they were just both went over so well.
So do we try to do one each semester?
We do try to do one each semester. It really depends on their schedule. Thankfully, it has worked out that way for us.
Ideally, it would be one in spring and one in the fall.
Okay.
All right, so the first one is November 25th, and it is the journalist Lisa Ling.
Yes, Lisa Ling. She is the executive producer and host of Our America, which airs on the Oprah Winfrey Network. She's a former field correspondent for the Oprah Winfrey Show, back when that was airing, and a contributor to ABC News Nightline and National Geographic's Explorer.
And she is the sister of Laura Ling.
Yes.
Right, who was one, along with Una Lee, was kidnapped
and held
or not
captive.
Kidnapped, maybe, but captured in North Korea. So a few
and
years
so
ago.
Lisa fought really hard to free
Yes.
them, obviously being her sister and everything. And
they were journalists too, right?
yes.
Okay.
And so it just runs in the family for her. And after the ladies were free, Laura and Lisa got together and wrote a book about it and about each of their experiences during that time period.
Do you know what to expect from her?
I think you'll expect a little bit of everything. Just the fact that she does the Our America, you'll probably hear some stories about being out there in the field and folks she's interviewed with, along with biography of her, just kind of where she comes from and how she got involved in being in journalism. And probably a little bit, she was also a host on ABC's The View when it first started.
Oh, that's right. That's from the very beginning.
From the very beginning, and won an Emmy during that time period. And so I just think that you'll probably hear a little bit of everything.
Okay, I'm looking forward to having our journalism students there as well.
Yes.
And then we have a different kind of lecture in February, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he has a nickname, right?
When I'm here, he's the sexiest astrophysicist alive.
I've heard that.
Yes. So, okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. But he will be here on February 17th, and we're just really excited. We've actually had him on our calendar for a year and a half. We wanted him for the 2012-2013 season, which we just finished, but he wasn't able to do that. He's just too busy, but he said, go ahead and put me down for February 2014.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so we've had this on our calendar for a long time now, and we're very excited to have him. And we've actually received a huge positive feedback on that.
And this is a different kind. I mean, we're used to the arts over here. We're used to journalists, and you know, but I think the sciences maybe. Well, that's not usually in our purview over here.
Yes.
But this is an example of how they can overlap.
Well, and this is an example of just us branching out and trying to reach different communities on campus. Last year we had Herman Edwards, which obviously we had all of the student athletes attend and business students because he spoke on leadership, and I think that was a really great fit for those two communities. But yeah, now we're looking into science, and when you think about bringing somebody in to speak from the science field, he's the top person that you want. Our science professors have really been trying to get themselves to come. For the Department of Science wanted him to come, but they weren't able to make it work. So they were very excited
wonderful.
to hear.
So did you collaborate with our science colleagues?
We will get together and try to work something out, but his schedule is so busy that we're literally going to fly him in, do the lecture and a book signing, and then leave.
Okay.
But we'll try our best to get anything extra that we can.
So tell our audience what he's done besides being the sexiest astrophysicist around.
Yeah, he's the director of the Hayden Planetarium and a research associate in the Department of Astrophysics at the American Museum of Natural History. For 5 years, he hosted Nova Science Now on PBS and has been a frequent guest on Jon Stewart's The Daily Show and The Colbert Report and Jeopardy. And he's also been
in Jeopardy. I didn't realize that.
I think he's done a couple special guest roles on Jeopardy, probably to announce a science answer or whatever. And he's had an asteroid named after him, so not a lot of people can say that.
Okay.
And he's been called one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine and top 50 best brains in science, which would be obvious. He's been on The Big Bang Theory. A lot of people have recognized him from that show and are excited to see him. And then one thing that he says that I find really hilarious, and it kind of angers me a little bit, but he was one of the scientists involved in removing Pluto from being a planet.
Really? Okay.
And so he helped kind of determine that Pluto should no longer be a planet, which just really hurts, growing up and always including it. And so being part of that and deciding that Pluto should no longer be a planet, he has said many times that he is probably the only astrophysicist to receive hate mail written in crayon from kids because he killed Pluto.
And I saw, I guess at debut, the little snippet
Interview.
we saw about how children are natural scientists, and we just sort of we make them behave and don't do that, and that sort of stifles their scientific inquiring minds.
Yes, yeah, because a young child looks at something and says, "Oh, what is that? I want to play with that. I want to dissect
Take it
that."
apart and put it back
but we're like,
together.
"No, don't break that."
Right,
and
right.
so he really encourages parents to just let it go. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Just let it go. Let them explore, and really, not hinder their just scientific.
And it sounds like that's how he's raising his children.
Yes, he has 2 children. I believe they're in their teenage years now, or close to being teens. And so, yes, I'm sure they're very interested in science.
Okay, well that's very interesting. So, so that'll be February the 17th. And this year, Ashley, for the first time, and this is not included in any of the series, there's a special family event.
Yes.
So talk about that.
Sure. This is something that we've not ever done before. A lot of our events do kind of interest families. So like this past season, we had Shrek the Musical,
right.
and a lot of kids showed up for that. But it was at 7:30 at night.
On a school night.
On a school night. I think it was a Monday, and it was just a lot of work and a lot of students. I brought my son, who was 3 at the time, and he could barely stay awake through it, but he loved it. And so I've really been interested in getting something for for young children and starting to get them involved in coming to Reynolds and getting families here, and the hope that if a family can come and bring their kids, that maybe they'll see something that would be a great date night for them later down the road, or girls' night or whatever. And so back at the Arts Midwest Conference that Jerry and I attended in September, which was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you get to see many different little showcases of artists. And this one group took the stage, and they had to make the theater completely black. And so you're kind of interested, thinking, what is going on here? Then all of a sudden, this giant duck appears on the stage, and the costume is like light wires, basically.
Almost like an outline.
Yeah, like an outline, like a light rope made out of lights. And this duck is moving around, and it tells the story of the ugly duckling. And so you go through the whole story of the little baby ducks being born, and then the ugly one, and the mom kind of shuns that one, and then later on the tiger comes, and so it's kind of scary to see this like tiger on the stage attacking, trying to kidnap these baby ducks. But then the ugly duckling comes along and saves them, and they're reunited, and then the mom is happy with the process, what the ugly duckling's turning into. And so it's just a really cute story. But to see all of this on a stage that's completely
Simply black. All we see are the outlines.
All you see is the outline, and you can't even fathom how the actors are in these costumes doing this, portraying this duckling with the neck and the head and the legs, and making every single movement so perfectly inside of these costumes. And so the room was full of adults, and they loved it. And then you get to thinking, this is for children, and so that hits every demographic. Grandparents will love it.
Sure.
3-4-year-olds will love it. Everybody in between. And so we started looking at trying to get that to come here.
So it is really going to be the ugly duckling.
Yes, it'll be the ugly duckling and also the tortoise and the hare. So it's
What's the name of the group?
Lightwire Theater.
Lightwire Theater.
And if that sounds familiar, they were actually a semifinalist on America's Got Talent last year.
Oh.
In the summer of 2012. I believe they came in
Doing
third
the
or
same
fourth
thing?
place. Doing the same thing. They have another show that goes on tour that's about a dinosaur. So they do some of that, but mostly this one is the ugly duckling and the tortoise and the hare.
Okay.
And so it'll be here. It'll be on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
On what's the date?
October the 5th.
Okay, early.
Early. Mm-hmm.
And price, is it a different price?
Yes, it's actually very affordable. It'll be $10 for adults and $5 for children. So a family of 4 can come for $30.
Okay.
And you can see something that you have never seen before.
I'm looking forward to that. I think that will be quite a draw. Now, Ashley, you know better than most that we are grateful for our sponsors, and we have some really good ones, and lots of them.
Yes.
For 2013-14. So tell us about who's sponsoring these events and some of the other ones that we talked about last time.
Yeah, we have. Almost every one of our performances has a sponsor. The Log Cabin Democrat is sponsoring 3 of the performances this year. Also Women's Inc., 501 Life Magazine. We have a ton of radio sponsorships that really helps us with advertising.
Absolutely.
We have B98 is sponsoring an event. KLRE Radio is sponsoring an event. And then we have Alice 107 is sponsoring the Ugly Duckling, so that's a great fit for them. And Y107 is sponsoring. Conway Printing, who does our brochures and everything. They are sponsoring the Neil deGrasse Tyson lecture, and so we just have tons of sponsors.
And we're grateful for all of them.
Oh, absolutely.
And we want more.
Yes.
So now I think most of our patrons are familiar with our series packages, but explain the price structure.
Sure. For all of these smaller series like Broadway, Pops, Night Out, tickets range from kind of the $80 to $160 range,
For the whole
depending
series.
on where you sit. Now we also have something called the Performing Arts Package, which encompasses the Night Out, the Broadway, and the Pops. So it's 13 performances, and you can get a ticket to see all of them. And that starts at $250 and goes up to $400 is the top price for that. And then we have the lectures. So if you wanted to come to Lisa Ling or Neil deGrasse Tyson, that's just $15. It's very affordable for everyone. If you're a student or you want to bring a child, that's only $5 for them. And it's free for UCA students. And then, like I said earlier, the Ugly Duckling is $10 for adults and $5 for students. So we have something that's affordable for everyone.
And before we go, there's something new called the Pick 6.
Yes, so we're starting a new option. It's called Pick 6. And what it allows you to do is pick any 6 events from between the Broadway, Pops, and Night Out. So it does not include the lectures or that family event. But between the 13 larger events, you can pick 6 of them and create your own season ticket. And to be eligible for that, you have to be a donor at the $100 level and above. So if you are interested in giving us and donating to us at $100 or more, then you can opt that option.
Package.
You can design your own package.
All right, Ashley, quickly, all the information about ticket sales will be on our website, which is?
Yes, www.uca.edu/Reynolds. And phone number, 501-450-3265.
And by the time this is airing, there are different times for individual tickets to go on sale, season tickets.
Yes.
But go to the website for more
Go
information.
to the website, August 12th at 10 a.m.
For the single tickets.
For the single tickets. That's the big day.
Okay. Be sure and get your tickets because they'll be going fast. We'll be back in a minute. For more information about the programs and people featured on the show, call the College of Fine Arts and Communication at 501-450-3293 or check out our website, www.uca.edu/CFAC. Now, for more information about everything going on at Reynolds Performance Hall, visit www.uca.edu/Reynolds and join us again next time on Spotlight.